I think if you asked 20 people what their definition of bioengineering was, you'd get 20 different answers. But overarching definition is a fusion of life sciences and engineering principles. So quantitative biology, measure, modeling, and making with, of, and for biology.
Bioengineering means to me the ability to control biological matter.
It's hard to describe the kind of person who goes into bioengineering. They have to be, I think, a little bit intense and a little bit smart and a little bit creative.
People who aren't afraid to jump into the unknown, who aren't feeling constrained by traditional disciplinary boundaries and want to get into a new emerging area. That takes a very special kind of psyche.
Sometimes I describe what we do as intellectual base jumping, right? Like you're just jumping off this cliff waiting to see if, the chute's going to open up.
We're molecular engineers, molecular designers, and so it's like a painter using a palette of paints and painting a portrait. I feel like engineering is an art form, if you will, just another way to be creative. And I really felt that Stanford, perhaps because it was starting up a brand new program, there wasn't a set history for what bioengineering should be. And we really took an approach that wasn't focused so much on labels, and it was just really who were the best people to realize the mission and the vision that we had set out.
The beginning was a little scary. There was never a department at Stanford and almost anywhere at any university in the world that is between schools.
We formed a number of committees to research how the department could be created, how would it report to the two schools, the School of Medicine and the School of Engineering, something that hadn't been done before.
The first search for bioengineering at Stanford, they hired 3 people, a physicist, a chemist, and a psychiatrist. Who would do that in an engineering department?
There was not a single psychiatrist with a primary appointment in a bioengineering department anywhere in the country or world, as far as we could tell. We looked, it had never been done. What I wanted was to bring a totally new perspective to the study of the brain and to the study of mental health. But where were the tools? Where were the resources? They didn't exist. They had to be built. They had to be created. What I wanted to do was to ensconce myself with people who wanted to build things, to create things, who brought that perspective. And I was just excited that Stanford was starting a bioengineering department, and I wanted more than anything to be part of it.
Steve Quake and I came in. Let me remember what our job was. Get some faculty. So we had started out with that core, but we needed to bring in new people.
We like to think of ourselves as unruly teenagers who were sort of pushing the rules and pushing the boundaries of where the field could go. Because we were developing excellence in fundamental science and also applications related to medical technologies, so therapeutics, diagnostics, as well as medical devices. And we like to say we're widening the aperture now. We've made a really big impact in people health. Now, how do we go towards planet health? And what I like to say is that the molecules and atoms don't care what the applications are.
This is a subject where the more you learn, the crazier it will be. We have some incredible new faculty that are coming in with just really exciting new projects.
I decided to come to Stanford because I found the perfect combination of all my interests. I'm interested in education, I'm interested in tinkering with cells and modifying cells, but also for an application that could have an impact in the world. And this combination of the Department of Bioengineering sitting within the School of Medicine, the School of Engineering, was like the perfect blend.
Being in a bioengineering department is the best way for me to learn and expand towards what I'm interested in the long term, which is applying this basic biophysics of immune cells to health or also other aspects of engineering.
I'm interested in sustainability, and we're tackling that from a lot of different angles. A lot of the skills that are so rich in this department could be applied to, I think, is a really important problem for our generation, for figuring out how to kind of live more sustainably. So we're trying to use genetic engineering in order to pick out very specific changes in the plant or introduce very specific changes in the plant. And that should allow us to better understand the contribution of a specific plant structure to survival in the environment.
Synthetic biology is like teaching biology how to do things that it never knew about, or it never needed from an evolutionary perspective. how do we teach biology and build with biology to have it address societal needs, whether it's making a new medicine or creating a diagnostic. We're thinking about how can we address key challenges around sustainability.
When you think back through the history of science, it's only been really recently that we've even known what DNA is. It just enables bioengineering to do so much more, and this is why the 21st century is really the era of biology. So the 20th century was chemistry, and later was more electrical engineering and computer science. We now have all of the pieces and parts for biotechnology and bioengineering to catalyze that for the future of society.
How do we build for the future? Well, that's where bioengineering is needed, right?
My hope for the department in the future and for the field of bioengineering is just to remain on the cutting edge.
The thing I think that's distinctive and powerful, especially about this department, is the combination of scientific excellence and translational excellence. By that, I mean getting technologies to patients or out into the world. These are translational ninjas. What's most important, of course, is patient metrics. If we tallied up everything, it would be tens of millions of patients already impacted by discoveries coming out of the department. So the scale of it is really tremendous.
A harder thing to count is the investment we've made in people, in our students, and what they've done in the world. We know it's actually our biggest impact.
I just am amazed at what a group of people we've put together, and that from that, good things happen. I'm very proud of our graduate program and our undergraduate program. It's just getting better. People are realizing that this is a potent field. Very proud of that.
Really, people think about as a big family. I think the way people talk to each other, the relationship between students, faculty, the environment is the thing that made me come to this department in the first place.
All these people that you admire throughout your career, and then you get to have them as colleagues.
What defines us is really kind of our boldness, our creativity, relentless optimism, intellectual ambidexterity, just a willingness to go out there, bring fields together, find new things.
I feel like it's this really unique time in the history of the place. The fact that you're in this space where you know everyone around you is working on something exceptionally important and is going to have a dramatic impact on the way we all live our lives and defining the sustainability landscape of the future. The timing just couldn't be better.